There's lots to gain actually. It's very varied. I built on my aseptic technique skills assisting in minor operations with the GPs. I built a big knowledge on long-term conditions like COPD, asthma and diabetes, which is obviously primarily managed in primary care.
For us, and certainly for me, the main rationale for a student, certainly as we've sort of grown into that role, is that they are the future of primary care. Without the student nurses understanding what we do here, then there will be no recruitment, there will be nobody entering the world and doing the work that we require them to do.
I think the benefits are plenty. First of all, from a personal point of view, I think we all here like teaching. The patients do generally like it. They seem to be able to talk to student nurses more easily than to GPs or nurses. It's obviously very important because all the patient care is at the moment moved from the hospital setting into the community, so it's important that nurses are familiar with the career in general practice, and I think they're exposed here to far more various clinical experience than in the hospital, and they also see what the patient's experience is with various professional settings like working with doctors, working with the community nurses or dietitians or midwives and so on. And if you're lucky, then you can maybe make your student nurse become your practice nurse, like we've been so lucky to do so, Sam.
And I certainly would recommend practices to have a student nurse because they're just invaluable, and I think we need to develop the workforce for the future, and I feel really committed to that, because if we don't expose nurses to general practice, then they're not necessarily going to choose it as a career option.
Certainly, I think from a practice manager point of view, I see no downside from having students. I think they add life, and they certainly they give an opportunity for obviously the future primary care, but also for the practice themselves. They get some benefit of potentially a new person coming into primary care, and certainly from our point of view, we have recruited from our student pool. We got a new student that started 2 weeks ago, and again, from that point of view, some of the work that she's doing already is making our life easier, and certainly taking off some of the workload, especially for us in March 2014 as we go into the end of our QOF quality and outcome framework work. She's already helping and supporting the nurses, doing some data cleansing and catching up our patient list.
The experience students get really depend on what's happening in the practice at that time. I do a lot of chronic disease management, so obviously they get exposed to lots of health promotion, chronic disease management, and then obviously any emergencies as they happen. So each student will get a different experience, but I think what a lot of them are surprised at is how varied the work is in general practice. And the students I've had have always said they didn't realise we did so much. And we do minor surgery, so they may have a chance to get involved with minor surgery, lots of things. So it's a really good experience, and they cover a lot of their competencies that they need to cover.
I think there's a lot of background within practice. So you've got the background of the long-term conditions, and you've got your specialist nurses within the practice, and they help each other to advise you on diabetes or COPD, and yeah, it's really varied, and I think people, if you get really involved in it, you can really enjoy it. So do it, become a student in general practice.